This morning I'm going to be doing another recipe from my fridge, meaning just doing something with what I have on hand. I'm going to be using my Wolfgang Puck pie maker to make breakfast quiche. This is actually a pretty cool little gadget. It's made, as I said, by Wolfgang Puck, and it has two pie wells inside. And the nice thing about this is that the Wolfgang Puck version has a really deep pie dish. A lot of the others on the market have a shallower pie dish, so you're getting more filling than you are, or less filling than you are pie crust. And this one, as you can see, it's pretty deep. So I'm going to be using this morning, and let's go ahead and get started. As I mentioned, this is just what I have on hand in my refrigerator, which is often a way I cook. I'm going to be using sharp cheddar cheese, a little bit of whipping cream, and then some eggs this morning. Probably going to be adding some salt and some pepper. Now, if you have some leftovers of some kind, you could add little bits of meat, maybe a little bit of chopped broccoli or some green onion, a little bit of ham, any kind of cooked meat. Bacon would be really good in this. But this is what I have this morning. I have my Wolfgang Puck pie maker preheating in the background, and I've just rubbed the wells a little bit with some olive oil. And then I have a store-bought pie crust that I have let come to room temperature. You could certainly make your own, but I don't always do that. And since it's room temperature, you're going to want to be careful with it. You don't want it to break and pull apart. And you're just going to go ahead and gently coax it into unrolling. The reason you want to let this come to room temperature is that if you do it right out of the refrigerator, your pie crust dough is probably going to crack and break as you try to work with it. So just about 15 minutes or so is all you need. Now, this particular pie maker did come with this little accessory, and what this is just a little cutter here. So on one side it's got a larger cutter for the bottom, and then on the other side it's got a smaller cutter that you'll use for the top of your pie. Today we're just going to do a bottom pie, so I'm going to see if I can't get two bottom crusts out of this. There's one. And might have to fudge a little on the other one. You could probably just roll this together and then maybe roll it out flat, but I don't like to mess around with my dough too much. It tends to make it hard and has problems. So we just leave it as simple and not messed around with as possible. And you'll notice that this has all these little cuts in the side, and that's just to help it fit into the pie well. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and set those aside. I have 4 eggs here. And a little third street tip here for eggs that you've probably heard somewhere else is I don't crack them directly into this bowl. What I do is I crack them one at a time into a small bowl and just pour them in here. That way if you get a bad egg or you get shells in there that you just can't get out or something, you don't ruin all the eggs. You can just toss that one out or dig something out of just that one. So here I have my eggs, and then to that I'm just going to add a little bit of whipping cream here. Not too much. And I'm going to go ahead and incorporate them. You could probably use a whisk, but I'm using a fork. Going to put on a little salt. A little pepper. I'm going to add just a touch of dill. I like to flavor my eggs with dill. You could add whatever other ingredients you want. If you wanted to put some, I think some shredded zucchini would be good, your little bits of bacon or ham or whatever. I'm going to add a little bit of the cheese, and I'm going to be using about a cup of cheese here. A good tablespoon of Parmesan cheese. Fresh Parmesan cheese is always better, but we don't have that. There's a little Parmesan cheese in there. All right, my pie maker is heated and I'm ready to get started. Oh, look at that. All right, now here's another little tip. This is actually a Wolfgang Puck tip. I've cut these strips of foil and I'm just going to press them into the pie well, and that will help to remove these when they're cooked. This works actually in any sort of a baking dish. You can even use it in your pressure cooker to get chickens out or whatever. It works out really well. You're going to want to be gentle about this, so I'm going to go ahead and gently sort of get my pie crust in here. It's going to start kind of melting right away, so you don't want to mess around with this any more than you have to. So there we go. To that, I'm going to add my egg mixture. Try to even it out as much as possible. Now this would also work with a nice like 8-inch pie as well. You could just do a large one in your oven. I'm going to add more cheese right to the top. All right, close this down and see you in a few. All right, it's been 13 minutes. Let's have a look and see how we did. Woo! Oh, those look delicious. They're nice and golden brown on the top. I can see that the crust is cooked. Let's get one of those out of here and have a look at it. You might want to do a few more minutes when you have like broccoli or something that takes a little bit more. Although it should probably be pre-cooked before you get it in there. Ooh, this is hot. So here it is out of the machine, and I actually broke some of the crust off removing the foil, but no big deal. And I want to just show you just how beautifully browned and cooked and crispy this is all the way through. So it's done a fabulous job of cooking that. We're going to go ahead and cut into this and see how this looks on the inside. Now that is just beautifully cooked all the way through. Just gorgeous. You can see how the egg is nicely done and it's fluffy. The cheese is sort of oozing here in certain places. The top of the crust is browned gorgeously. The pie crust isn't burnt anywhere. It's nice and crispy and not gooey on the bottom. So this has actually done a really good job. We're going to get in there and have a taste test. My fork here. Piece of foil there. And let's see. The eggs are moist, they're not over dried. So somewhere between 12 and 13 minutes on this machine is great. Whatever brand machine you have, you kind of want to play with that a little bit until you get the timing right. But this is perfect for this machine. Very flavorful. This is really good. So right out of the refrigerator with ingredients that I had, I made a great breakfast. I took the other one out just to make sure it didn't overcook in there, and you can actually see just how nicely these puff up. Beautiful, right? So I didn't really feel like it would be fair to review this pie maker without actually making a real pie as well. So as a quick little bonus here, we're also going to make a cherry pie. So there's my little foil strips. And I'm going to go ahead and carefully place my pie crust in. Next one I'm going to do is I just have some canned cherry pie filling. I'm actually not going to top these pies. If you topped these with pie crust, it would take a little bit longer to cook the top and then the bottoms would overcook. You really want to use something like maybe a puff pastry or something a little bit lighter and a little bit quicker to cook on the top for that. Alright, those look pretty good. And then just for fun, I just have a little cutout I put on there, and we're going to go ahead and put these in. And I'm going to check these in about maybe 8 minutes. Maybe 10, we'll have to see. So I actually ended up erring on the side of 12 minutes, believe it or not, because I just was a little worried about that crust. So let's see how I did. Oh, those look beautiful. And you can see here the problem that I'm talking about. Let me get this in. See, the crust around the edges are really well done, beautiful, and this little heart here is not cooked through. That's the problem with putting a crust over the top when you have these little machines like this, and why puff pastry really works best for topping your pies. We're going to go ahead and get one of these out on a plate. And this is the convenience of these little strips here. Whoops. And let's have a look. You can actually see how beautifully golden brown this crust is. And it's going to be done all the way through to the bottom. Ouch. So I'm going to go ahead and let this cool before we're able to have a look at it. It's just too hot to handle. See you in a few. So that's actually, the cherries have been warmed through all the way through. Now this is cooled for about 2 hours and it's just gorgeous. Now I don't really mean beautiful or gorgeous in the sense I made it really rustic looking. So it's not necessarily it's got a beautiful lattice work or anything. I was kind of meaning more or less the beautiful beautifully cooked all the way through. The dough is not doughy, it's nice and crisp, and it's really wonderful. Just really tasty. So that's pretty much a quick and easy way that you can go ahead and make yourself a delicious, quick, and easy pie to have for dessert. And I'm going to make some coffee, and I'm going to go ahead and have this.